Hello gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about switch stick and how to use it properly. Now what I'm going to do is show you some use cases for it as well as ways to practice, but this is definitely a feature you should be using because it can just create more turnovers for you. You can really bait certain routes, and this is a great addition by EA. This is up there with some of their best changes, including zone drops and custom stems. But before I get into it, I do have a quick announcement. I just dropped my full Oregon Ducks offensive scheme on acemadden.com. If you guys want to support me as a creator as well as get better at the game, go get yourself a monthly membership. You can use code DUCKS for 25% off. You'll gain access to all of the content we have on the site. That includes both Madden and college football. I'll be posting a preview on the scheme tomorrow as well as some gameplay, but if you guys are interested in using the scheme today, again, it's on acemadden.com. Okay, now let's talk about how to use the feature to begin with. So what we're going to do is come out in a zone coverage. I think this is probably the best way to practice it. And we'll just come out against, verticals or something. And the way that you use the feature is, pretty simple. All you're going to really do is flick your right stick in the direction that you want to go. So we're on this guy in the middle. Let's say that we want to switch to that free safety, which is right here. All you're going to do is point in the direction of the guy you want to switch to. So I'm going to go ahead and snap the ball. And you're going to see you can switch to these different players. Now, switching to a middle safety like that probably isn't advisable. You can definitely mess up and give up, some really big plays, one play touchdowns, that kind of thing. I'd say this is going to be better for switching on to, flat zone defenders and taking away, let's say a corner route. So let's go ahead and look at maybe putting this inside slot receiver on a stemmed corner. And what we'll do now is put this guy on something else. Let's actually just put him on a man up here. And we'll user this guy. So you're going to see is you can play in the middle and then switch onto this guy and try to get back. Now that wasn't a perfect example, but that's the kind of use case that we're looking for. So that was just one use case, taking away the sidelines from corner routes and stuff. But you can also do it with, deep crossers. I think that's another good use case for it. So let's go ahead and set this route combination up. And what I plan on doing here is I'm going to just man this guy up and get that zone out of the way so we're not running into each other. But I'm going to use her shallow. And then what I'm going to try to do is switch stick onto this zone defender or to this outside third and try to take away the deep crosser. So again, here's the play art. Let's go ahead and snap, replace shallow. I'm going to switch onto this guy and take away this crosser. So it's a good way to bait, take away something, and then take away another thing in the same play. That's one of the reasons that switch stick is so good, is because it adds an element of skill and thought into what you're doing on defense. Now, what I want to do next, before I show you ways to practice this, is some things you need to think about before you actually switch stick. So something you need to keep in mind before you switch stick is think about how many players you're rushing and then think about if they're going to shed. Because in years past, with Madden, if you send 3 and you do not blitz your user, you are not getting any pressure. And you might have noticed that in the past couple clips that we weren't getting really any pressure. But with switch stick, you cannot have a blitz to user and then switch stick. I'll show you what happens. See, I can't switch stick because we're basically just running pass rush moves. So he has to be in coverage. It has to be, a man up. It has to be a zone if you're going to switch stick. But then you run into the problem, well, if your guy's in zone and we're only sending 3, are we ever going to shed? And the answer is no, you're not going to. So if you want to send 3, you have to pretty much decide that, okay, I'm going to blitz my user and I'm just going to user him the entire time. That's a decision you have to make. Or you can use a different set. Like you can use big nickel over G or something. It's a 4-man rush. You don't even have to worry about it. So I just wanted to point that out, that you do have to be on some kind of coverage assignment if you want to switch stick. So basically, before you even think about switch sticking, you need to think about 3 things. First of all, how many people are you sending at the quarterback and are they going to shed? If you're sending 3, remember you have to blitz your user. If you're sending 4, great, you can put your user on whatever kind of coverage you want. Now, you do have to think about what coverage you're putting him in, because once you click off, he's going to go play that coverage. So what I recommend doing is putting him in a quarterback spy. I can't do that. There we go. Finally popped up. Because when you click off and you're only sending 3, for instance, which again, I don't recommend, but if you are going to do it, quarterback spy is going to be pretty good here, because when you click off, he is going to go play in a spy and they can't really scramble. So that is going to be a good option for you. The other good zone would probably be a hook zone. So pick between a hook zone and a quarterback spy, or I would man him up to somebody, like man him up to somebody kind of random, or somebody that you're anticipating maybe coming across the middle. Like if you're expecting that drag or whatever, maybe man up to this guy. We'll do the same crossing concept that we did earlier. So something like this. Snap. And just like that, takes away the drag, we take away the crosser. So definitely put thought into what you're doing on defense. Instead of just like switch sticking randomly, you definitely want to put some thought into it. But overall, that's kind of like the gist of the feature. You just want to get into practice mode, get into a zone coverage, and just like literally just practice moving around with your right stick and just getting used to the feel of it, targeting the right player. It doesn't really matter what zone coverage you come out in, as long as you're in a coverage with your initial user, you can switch stick. And again, just practice, try to get to each different player, try to get used to targeting, and you'll definitely get better at it that way. Anyways, that's it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and then go check out that Oregon Ducks offensive scheme on acemadden.com. Use code DUCKS for 25% off on monthly membership. See you guys in the next one.